Light and energy in San Antonio. She's positive, she's bringing other people up, she's promoting other people, she's encouraging other people constantly. She is the future face of San Antonio. You will see her here for many years to come. So if you don't know her now, now's the time to know her. Because she's going to be more and more and more, and she's an amazing person. So her sign said, this is cute, I like big mutts, and I cannot lie. Yeah.
Before I start, Daddy, can you hear me? Okay, I love all of you, but it's important that Daddy hears me today. So I'll eventually touch on my sign, which does say I like big mutts and I cannot lie. And excuse the bright pink note cards. So, I think everybody in here has a chapter in their life that they'd rather keep unpublished. You know, something that we don't want to talk about, whether it's revolving around our past, our beginnings, our childhood. And, you know, eventually, which I think is why we're all here, you know, we all get to a point where we realize it doesn't matter who or what we used to be in life. What truly matters is who we've become and how we've gotten here. But it's important to know that in telling those who we used to be stories, we can breathe life into others, inspire those around us, and help people see how beautiful life really is as a whole. You know, we can't go back and change the past, and we can't make the details of our past pretty, but we can move forward past the struggles, sometimes daily struggles, knowing that there are better things ahead. I grew up with a very sick mama. Most of you in here probably don't know that. My entire childhood, my mom battled multiple sclerosis and cancer. My daddy worked a lot, but thankfully it was for all the right reasons. His drive was and still is my mom, making sure that our family never falters, making sure that we always had a roof over our head, making sure that whatever mama needs she had, making sure that whatever medical treatments would come about that we would be first on the list. During the summer, I'd spend a lot of time at home with Mama. And Daddy, working a lot, he'd leave every morning, and I remember him closing the door, and he would tell me, don't bother your mom, don't go bother Mama, she needs to rest, she's not feeling well. And he'd go to work, and he would tell me, if you need anything, call me. Well, as any curious child would do, I'd go and open the door to see Mama, and then I didn't know how fragile or weak she was. I know now, but then she never showed it. I remember I'd walk into her room, and it was a dark room, and she'd tap on the bed, and she would tell me to come sit beside her and tell her a story. Thankfully, my imagination as a child would run wild. I would tell her story after story after story. And each time when I was done, she would tell me to write that story down, that way she could read it later and read it over and over again. You see, as a child, the only way that I could go to Disneyland, the only way that I could go to the park or play with others was through words, was through writing. I wrote and I created the reality that I wanted as a child. I never brought friends over because I never knew what was going to happen, if I was going to have to call 911 or Daddy to come home to take care of Mama. And I never wanted to go to any of my friends' houses because I didn't know if Mama was going to need me, and I didn't want her to be alone. So, very soon, my parents adopted a dog for me. Her name was Poppy, and I never stopped adopting dogs. And I know it sounds silly, but Poppy then became my companion. You know, I would write with Poppy next to me, and even now, you know, we have 2 dogs, Mango and Sinatra, that are big mutts. And I love them to death, and they've been there through my crying times and my happy times, and I love them, and so I've always been a dog person. So I would write story after story after story with Poppy by my side. And soon, at a very young age, I started getting compliments from teachers. You know, they would tell my parents, like, wow, Nina has really good writing skills. She's able to write so well, you know, for such a young age. And little did I know then that my not-so-perfect childhood, slightly tragic childhood, would forever shape my life, my career path, and ultimately be the reason I've had so many amazing and wonderful opportunities here in San Antonio. You know, I've always believed that it's important for all of us in here to realize that sometimes we go through tragedies just so it could be someone else's triumph. And sometimes our tragedies can be our own triumphs. You know, we learn from that, whether it's a divorce or the loss of a parent or the loss of a child. You know, one person's tragedy, when you speak those words, when you tell that chapter that you'd rather keep unpublished to someone else, you end up touching them. And I've always heard, you know, oh, life is so messy, and that's absolutely true. And the way I see it is, without the mess, there is no message. There's no way to touch others. And I know most of us in here would rather keep that mess to ourselves, but I say, here's to a messy life, you know, because what else do we have if we're not here to touch and to breathe life and to inspire others? And I know that's one thing that I try to do on a daily basis, from my Facebook to my Instagram. No matter what kind of day I'm having, even if it's a bad day, talk about those bad days. I think we learn more through the mess than we do through the beauty, and we learn how to find beauty through the mess. So that's just my speech for today.